Thank you for joining us for the second episode of Rookie Fishing Basics. Last time we talked about rods, tackle, and home waters, places to pick out to fish that are going to be easy access and be easy for you to go fishing at. So hopefully you've done that and you've picked out your rod. Now we're going to pick out line, lures, and a few rigs. Lines come in various shapes, different colors, and when I say different shapes, they do come in different shapes for different type of rod and reels. The most popular is mono filament, probably one of the cheaper lines. They do come cheap and they do come expensive, and you will notice the difference if you play with it long enough. Cheap lines will do all kinds of crazy things, like knot up like that, where your nice, more expensive lines will be nice and smooth, better for casting. Picking the right size line for your right rod and reel. Every fishing rod and reel does have a line capacity, and it does have a lure size. You don't want to take an outfit like this and put 25, 50-pound test on it. It won't cast very well. It's hard to tie knots. Just will not do the job you need it to do to catch a trophy. So after you picked all that out, there's all kinds of different lines on the markets. As I was saying, you've got spider line, you've got fluorocarbon, you've got hydro line, hyper lines they call them. My personal favorite is still fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon, you will find, I like it, it's clear in the water. Downside of fluorocarbon, it doesn't, when you go over rocks, rough areas, it causes abrasions. Also downside to it also, it stretches a little bit. So when you're trying to set that hook, it stretches. Where you will find on spider lines and your hyper lines, they don't stretch. So think about that when, price is always a point. Monofilament's always going to be cheaper. So look at that. When you buy your line, make sure it fits the right size. Make sure the line fits the reel you have. Now going into rigs. Rigs come in so many different variables. Going from your simple to double rig, you can find these at any bait and tackle shop. Very inexpensive, $1.25 to $1.50. You can buy them anywhere. They come in different lengths even. This is a standard. They even make them longer. Rigs also are for specific jobs, specific fish you're trying to catch. Bluefish rig. I've got lots of bluefish around. This is the rig I'm going after. Bluefish don't really care. They're toothy critters. They have lots of teeth. They shred most of your monofilaments, fluorocarbon, I don't care what kind of line. Bluefish teeth will shred it. This is made out of steel leader. It's not going to shred. Great for, like I said, bluefish, shark, any kind of toothy, anything's going to have teeth in it. This is the kind of rig you want. They also make rigs for casting rigs, for surf fishermen. These rigs are specifically designed. They're set up so the line stays together and it doesn't fly apart, and it stays more aerodynamic as it's going through the air, so you get a longer cast. They say 30% longer. I'm convinced at 10%, and that's just what I'm convinced at. But it does have a nicer cast. My favorite rig is what they call the fish finder rig. And it's made with a simple slide with a swivel. You can put little beads here so they make clicking sounds. I love this. I love this particular rig for live bait fishing and cut bait fishing. You can put a little piece of cork in the middle of it, float the bait up in the air. If you're having live bait, you can get the chance the live bait to swim around a little bit, attract more fish. So it's just a few basic rigs. There's all kinds of rigs for specific types of fishing. Tuna fishing, for chunking. You've got a fluorocarbon, higher pound, 50 to 80 pound, 100 pound, simple hook. But rigs are for a particular type of fishing, and you've got to keep that in mind. I wouldn't use this for spot fishing on the bay, but I wouldn't use this for tuna fishing. Rigs have got to be specific on what your type of fishing. Going back to your home waters. If my home waters is the creek feeder, I wouldn't use this. I would use something like this. If I'm open ocean and I'm chunking for even stripers on the bay, if I'm chunking fishing, this is the kind of rig I'm going to use. So each rig has a specific type of fishing. Next, you've got rigs for flounder. So think about your fish in your area and think about the rig that you may want to use. It bounces off the bottom. It just makes a very good presentation for flounder. Flounder like things to move. Okay, now we'll talk a little bit about lures. Lures come in all different sizes, different shapes, different types. Going to rattle traps. This has been around for many years. It took the market by storm. There is no one lure that's going to catch every fish. Or maybe my wife hit it on me and I don't know where it is, but I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen that perfect lure that's going to catch every fish. It just does not exist. But lures do come in different sets. Size does matter. I know where they say size doesn't matter. Size does matter. You want to match the hatch. Match what's going on. If all the fish are feeding on something this size, something this small, you don't want to throw something this big at them. So you want to match the hatch. Going back to lures, lures some come with lips, and you can see a little lip on this particular model. And what happens is you're pulling the lure through the water, it's going to a certain depth. The bigger the lip, the bigger the depth. This one's a 25, this is a 30 plus. So faster I'm pulling it through the water, the deeper it's going. Rubber lures have come on the market real hard in the last 20 years. Very big fan of them. They have a more feel-like. They've got them now where they mimic injured fish. Great little standbys. They've come in all different shapes and sizes, obviously. But one lure that I really do feel that's been underestimated and people forget about is the hair jig. Back in World War II, in the drop packs for the United States Air Force, this is what they used to pack for their emergencies. Because they knew if they ditched in the water, and they gave them this, with 20 foot of fishing line, they could at least catch fish and stay alive. This will catch many different species of fish. So think about what you want to fish for. Think about the time of year. Very important too. But always try to match the hatch. Match the size lure that's of the type of fish that's going to be around. Your predatory fish, if they're feeding on this, you throw this at them, they're not going to hit this. They're going to hit this. So keep that in mind. Always be conscientious of what you're doing in the water. Conservation, always think conservation. And I always say 20%, 80-20 rule. 20% of the fishermen catch 80% of the fish. And there's a reason why. Reason is they're thinking what they're doing. Keep a little log when you're going fishing. You're going to find at a certain time you're catching certain fish and you're going to see a pattern develop. And when you master that pattern is when you're going to catch more fish. My home waters, Point Lookout area, I hear it all the time. Oh, there's no fish there. I fish here because there's no fish at Point Lookout and blah, blah. There's fish at Point Lookout. You've just got to do your homework, look for specific areas and times to fish. We'll talk about that next time, and next one's going to be in fish seeing, smell, and looking at tides. Thank you for tuning in, and keep lines tight. Remember, be the part of the 20%, 80-20, and think conservation. Thank you, and have a good day.